I'm
That
gonna
seems
I'm gonna
not be
cycle
contradictory.
David and Pumpernickel and pull these other two people in who are in the waiting
All right,
channel.
sure.
By the
Thanks for
way.
letting us join.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Thanks
right.
for coming
Have a
on,
good night.
guys. Yeah, have a good night. See ya.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Oh, it's another British person.
British lassie and really big fan. Hello.
Imagine if you let the other guy in,
Yeah.
there would have been 3 whole
Wait, can you
British
guys hear
people
me?
in here. We would have
Yep.
outnumbered you.
We hear you.
Oh, okay. So I saw someone tweet this. This is tangentially, well, not tangentially, but somewhat related to this. Wh- What do you guys think of the idea that, like, it's kind of hypocritical how gambling was banned on Twitch because of young audiences, but they're allowing this kind of content in spite of the fact that, Twitch obviously still has young audiences.
I mean that's not even the biggest reason it's hypocritical. They didn't even ban sports betting, which is what caused the original problem with Slicker. And
Hmm.
not only that, but it's also like a way more accessible thing and probably significantly more damaging to kids than stake. Also, they allow like case openings, which is also significantly more damaging to children and still allowed on Twitch. So that's like at least number 3 or number 4 on the list of why Twitch is hypocritical for using children as a reason to ban gambling or ban
Hmm.
stake, I guess.
I
So do you
don't
guys
even
think
think they
this?
wanted to ban gambling at all, did they really? It was just they felt like they had to.
Well,
If
they're
you,
kind of like
let's be
pressured
honest, if
into
they
it,
didn't
right?
have like a bunch of drama, they probably would still be doing it right now.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
Also, what do you guys think about people who are saying that they should
Your
get rid
mic's
of,
getting really
like,
bad.
What?
oh, sorry. I was saying,
What'd you think about what?
what do you guys think of people saying that they should roll back this new terms of service because of the fact that they have kids on there? I've seen a lot of people arguing that like Twitch is a platform like specifically aimed towards kids. And I was kind of arguing against that because personally I don't think Twitch was ever really advertised as a children's platform.
No, it wasn't.
And like a lot of the content on there, there's plenty of content on there, even not necessarily sexual, that I wouldn't recommend kids watching. Like for example, I mean Destiny's obviously banned now, but I don't think if Destiny was on Twitch, I
Dude,
would
your mic's
recommend like,
getting real bad.
You sound
Sorry.
like you're in a tin can, mate.
oh wait, hold on. Let me switch mics. uh wait, can someone else talk while I change my mic?
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you saying? So
Dun, dun, dun,
I don't think the children
elevator
argument's ever been
music.
good for Twitch because obviously they've allowed all of the weirdly softcore porn content forever because it makes them money. And yeah, they have a bunch of things on there that are harmful to kids. I don't think there's ever been a good argument there along any dimension. They take money, yeah, somebody pointed out, obviously they take money from like FanDuel or what is the other one, DraftKings, that do like sponsorships. So clearly they don't really care. Yeah, I don't know.
Hey, Lamau.
Wolfgang, are you getting in on this or what? Are you getting in the gold rush? What are you doing?
I I'm doing paid work right now, and I'm done with all my paid work. Fuck it, probably not. I was listening to August talk about this because I don't have much insight when it comes to audience, like retaining an audience or like how to necessarily do social media work. I just kind of know how to do art. So having August kind of type his input is definitely like something to consider if he thinks this is a good idea, and that's at least what I was getting from the sense. I'm not sure. I just know that I got a lot of paid work to do that's safe for work, and I probably want to finish that before I pick up any not safe for work stuff. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
so
fair.
basically I was saying that sorry, I switched devices because I was on my phone. So basically I was saying that like a lot of people were basically saying Twitch is a kids platform. There's loads of kids content on there, so it's kind of like weird champ to allow like NSFW content. But then I was kind of arguing that like, well, Twitch has never been advertised or marketed as a children's platform. It's really just that like a lot of content on there happens to appeal to kids. But like I'm not necessarily in favor of the idea of Twitch like saying, "Oh shit, yeah, we do have a lot of kids on here, so we should base our terms of service around that," because you end up getting like what happened on YouTube, which is that YouTube obviously tried to do like a little side thing for kids, YouTube Kids. It didn't really work out. So then they started changing their terms of service on the main YouTube. So they started like editing out swears and all this other stuff. So even though a lot of people like saying, "Oh, we need to remove this content off Twitch because it's not safe for work on the and there's children on there," I feel like there's kind of like a double-edged sword to that. Like if people do get their way with that, it's obviously gonna manifest in a way worse way than what they want. Like
You
it's
don't
obviously
sound
gonna
very British.
I get that a lot. A lot of people say I sound American, but
Also, you need
Where
to
are you
go to the
from?
store and buy a 9-volt battery and put that in your smoke alarm, okay?
but
Oh,
yeah,
I
Just
thought.
saying.
Okay.
It
Okay.
wasn't
But
the
I
I
don't
heard
know.
that
birds.
too.
It was not the birds.
No, I heard that too. It's just whenever I hear there's an old Destiny related figure who used to frequent different Destiny social places, and he was well known for having a smoke alarm that went off. His name was Masturbator. And whenever I hear smoke alarm going off on a microphone, I always wonder if that's him, but you don't sound like
If
him.
it's
You're probably good.
Okay.
Masturbator.
Anyway, where are you
Interesting.
from?
Me?
Yeah. You don't have to be
I-
super specific, just which bit of England or what have
I
you.
was born in a place called Reading, but
Oh, it's
currently
near,
I
yeah, it's
live
near London.
currently I live in Buckinghamshire, or I guess more specifically Aylesbury, because I don't think anyone can really get anything from that. Aylesbury is pretty big. But yeah,
Interesting.
that's where I'm from. But yeah, I was just sort of wondering like what you guys thought about people saying we need to roll back content. We need to roll back this new terms of service because there's kids on there, even though it would probably result in something far worse. It'd probably end up being like YouTube, where you're not even allowed to swear anymore, you know?
They always make think of the children arguments. Is what these
Yeah.
Well,
adult
for YouTube,
brains
doesn't that
do.
only matter for like monetization? Like, can't you just post whatever on
Well, yeah,
YouTube?
I
Dude,
think
really
that's
big fan. You're
kind of
quiet as fuck too.
I think
Wait,
that's
am I
kind of true,
actually
but
sorry?
like
Yeah.
I think that's kind of true, but at the same time, it's like in the past you could make money off of
Yo,
that
is it
kind of
better now?
content.
What's up?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
way
it's
better.
better
Oh
now.
yeah, it's not better
Okay,
now.
I actually put batteries in my smoke alarm, so no need
There
to
you
worry.
go.
Good.
Okay, do you guys remember when there used to be like videos of like dicks and stuff on YouTube? It was like applying like a
What?
condom and stuff.
Is
Like,
that
I do
not
not
still the
recall that.
case?
I don't know if there's dude there. Okay, so back in the day, there used to be this video of like a dude with like a huge dick, like putting on a condom, and it was like it was like super obviously like slightly geared towards like pornography, but like they
Yeah,
got
yeah.
away with it because it was just like, you know, educational, quote unquote.
Educational.
Actually, it's funny that you say that because
Okay,
I
I wasn't
saw.
done talking. That happened
Oh,
with
sorry, my
like
bad.
breastfeeding too, where like this lady literally went to jail because she was like oiling up and like selling videos of her breastfeeding to a guy, and then a woman literally or that guy's wife found out he was buying like those videos and reported her to the cops, and she went to jail.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty much
Okay.
it. You're welcome.
I was gonna say
Thank
it's
you.
funny that you say that because not too long ago I saw a bunch of people like talking about how this guy uploaded a video onto YouTube where he shows his bare like asshole showing how to like
Yeah,
remove
the
hairs
Nair,
from your
the Nair
ass.
video. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that
I
kind of
assume that's
content
still
is
there.
allowed. It probably is because I mean it's informative, right? It's
Not
educational,
to detract
kind of.
not to detract from the conversation too much. But oh, sorry. People should probably answer that question first, then I'll ask you later. Go ahead.
Like it is kind of educational, right? Informative.
Yeah, I mean, if you have some argument, it's fine. Maybe. I think it needs to be behind like a wall or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Should Twitch ask for your ID though? That's the big question.
I
If they're
mean,
Well,
doing
the
this
thing
kind
is,
of explicit
in the
content,
UK, they
like
tried to implement a thing like that with porn, and it
Yo,
didn't go through. So, like,
What kind of
I think
sociopath just has a fire alarm beeping?
I wanted to ask that. I wanted to ask that. Like, how do you do it? How do you put up with it? Like, I don't think you're a sociopath, but I'm definitely curious. Like, how do you withstand just hearing that fucking beeping?
it goes away after a while. You stop noticing it.
What?
Yeah, you just don't hear it anymore.
Okay, hold on a second. But how long has it been going on for?
Dude, it only takes like 1 day for you to forget it's going off. I promise.
You guys
Drown
are
it
fucking
out.
with me.
Drown it out.
You stop.
No
How
No, dude,
often does
seriously.
this
Drive me
happen?
I thought this was
insane.
like a uniquely black community problem, by the way. Isn't this like a whole meme on the internet?
It's actually like a
Following.
poverty thing. But
I actually,
yeah.
I was gonna say because I actually relate to hearing that all the time too.
I do
Well, I think you hear it for a
understand.
different reason, but I was poor, so I understand.
Well,
Indeed.
then
Well-
just take the BP out. Like, what?
But
Well,
what if there's
isn't
a
it better?
fire?
Isn't it better to have it like at low battery?
Do you not have
than-
another fire alarm in your house that is valid?
It's
Then
Yeah,
about
but what
catching
if
it in
one
the
what
right
if it
room,
starts
Not
upstairs?
bad, is it?
Like, what if it's an electrical fire and it starts from a random appliance? You know,
God, what's more likely?
debate lost. I won that.
I don't know. There's
Makes
at
sense.
least
I
here
think
I can
so.
tell you that there's like carbon
Intellectually
monoxide
outpaid.
Because you
detectors.
won't win a debate if you get kicked out because you're annoying as shit because you got a fire alarm BP.
Don't
in the
kick him
back
out.
of it.
He's,
Okay, whoa!
He
It
reminds me
wasn't
like
me.
Turkey Tom or something. He sounds like a
It
commentary
wasn't
YouTuber.
me. Okay, it wasn't
You
me.
know
That's
you have
the
like
other
the
person.
commentary
Sounds
YouTuber
wrong.
voice, right?
He
Are you
actually
aware of
does.
this?
Yeah, like
He
the
does.
white guy voice.
One day he's gonna
Commentary
be
YouTuber
huge.
voice. You sound like every commentary YouTuber I've ever heard.
Yeah, he's got that fucking skibbity voice.
One day he's going to
Really
be
big
huge,
fan of
and that's going to be a
football.
big thing about his nature. It's like what's his name with the shitty mic, the fucking League of Legends player, Tyler
I did
One.
like
Tyler
him
won.
get in here.
Yeah, I was
I've
about
been
to
here for a
say.
minute.
I like it.
Hey, but one day it's going to be like, oh, he. I don't hear the beep anymore, and people are like, bring it back. There'll be Reddit threads. It'll be his identity.
But
Fuck
like
no.
you're not realizing that I'm not the one with the beep. It's
Yeah.
somebody
I don't
else.
know as the beep. I'm just talking about the beep.
Yeah, somebody just pointed out you're like a young Willie Mack. That's what you sound like. You've the exact. Do you watch Willie Mack videos?
Not really.
No.
I only watched the one where he was talking about Hassan because I'm obsessed.
Okay, that's fair. You definitely watch commentary YouTubers though. Which commentary YouTubers do you watch?
Pyrocynical.
So I grew up watching like Leafy's here and Pyrocynical.
Okay,
I stopped
okay.
watching Pyrocynical when he got exposed for being a weirdo into like inflation porn and stuff. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
Wolfman.
Bad taste.
I'm into being inflated. I don't know what you mean. I want to be the one inflated. Why are you apologizing?
And
Can I do it?
No, you sound.
I'm
too masculine.
18 plus. I promise. I'm 18 plus.
I don't believe you. Don't
Yeah,
believe you.
I'm not sure with the Zoomer cadence, but it's fine.
kind of sounds like a male Farha to me.
No,
What?
It's Willie Mack, or I mean, it could be any
What?
commentary YouTuber, I guess, but kind of funny.
Yeah,
Okay, can we get another topic rolling, please?
but basically, no,
Oh,
I don't. I don't
yeah,
think
right
IDs.
away,
I
sire.
don't
Some
think
guy
that-
comes in.
Just
starts
a goal.
bossing everyone
What?
around. Interesting.
Justical, new topic,
What?
sir, please.
Oh,
Our biggest
Well,
fan
no,
is
this
waiting for a
British,
new.
British lassie wanted to finish what they were saying.
I was gonna say
Oh.
they did try IDs in the UK. Didn't really work, and now at most they'll just ask you if you're 18 when you go on the website and you say yes, which doesn't really change anything because people can obviously lie. They don't ask for proof of identification or anything. So, you know.
The fucking beep.
Beep, beep, beep.
Can't believe you
I
have
don't know.
a fire alarm.
I don't know if it's the
beacon
same
at,
thing
like,
over there,
5
but over here,
a.m..
when you take off the carbon monoxide detector, like it'll scream at you for like God knows how long until you pluck it back in. So I don't know if it's the same thing, but
Does
Wait,
this
might
guy
be a-
sound like lyrics?
am I the only one who doesn't hear that? I don't hear the beep.
dude. That ain't no. You got.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be
Bro.
able to tolerate it for long. So you're gonna have to
You've
fix
lost
it.
a fucking. I hope you realize that you've lost a sound frequency in your ear.
Holy
You just cannot pick those up
Victim,
anymore.
a coordinated
'Cause
op
there's
to
been
destroy
beeping
the
for
credibility
so
and
long.
reputation
Wait, is
publicly
it
and
coming
announced
from me?
before.
But a lot of this
Yes!
stuff just ends up being personal shit that we
Communications blowing up small issues into bigger
Hold on.
ones, which I'm sure every
see if I can
human on the
sort this
world
out.
has
Okay, all right. I'll come back later.
You got this.
Wait,
I believe
where are
in
you
you.
going, Wolfgang?
I got stuff to do. I'll be
Do we
back
have
later.
16-minute
to give his
Okay.
location?
No, never
What are
mind.
you saying okay for? What are you saying it like that?
Why
He's
am
got
I-
dick to sling.
Like, how
Yeah,
dare you
apparently.
leave? In the mouth.
Does my
That is
camera
so
scope
loud.
for anyone?
No, it's loading
No.
infinitely.
No.
Yeah, it's been
Wait,
doing this a
what?
minute. I don't know what the issue is.
Weird.
Wait, before I go, I want to see logistical new topic. This one is tired out, obviously.
New topic? Hold on. What did I have in my title? I had like a couple things I wanted to go over, but I put them in the title. Now I forget. Oh,
Here, I'll
but
look
the other
up.
shit's political. Nobody's gonna give a fuck about that.
Wait, what is it?
It's
Nate Silver versus everyone.
yeah, Nate Silver versus some random stats people on Twitter about
Yo.
why there's economic anxiety.
Not actually super political, but was that Finkelstein tweet real where he said Jews instead of Zionists and like actually came off super anti-Semitic, and he came off like the like token anti-Semitic Jew type of guy? Was that real?
I have no idea.
Chat?
I have no idea, but yeah, we can ask someone.
Why don't you just go look at Twitter?
Oh, I'm banned
Nice.
on my one phone number.
You can just fucking open it without being logged in.
Like
him back.
I don't
Yeah,
think
what's
that's
up?
actually how it works anymore. Like on my phone, if
Yeah,
I
I'm
like
still
log
spinning.
in, I can only see a certain amount of tweets and then it doesn't load anymore.
Fucking, why don't you make another account? Jesus Christ. I'll go
Said he's
look.
only got one phone number, Kelly. He's not rich.
I'm actually fairly poor.
Yeah, he said he was
you guys are
poor.
Retarded.
The fuck,
I've
Kelly?
made so many like random fucking.
I'm like
Twitter
poor,
accounts
but I have
without needing
enough
a
money to
phone
buy
number, you
batteries. That's pretty much
stupid
it.
fucks.
Yeah, you have a pretty good microphone for somebody who's poor. I'm gonna be honest. Your mic's coming out pretty clear.
It's only
What?
it's a $15 mic off Amazon. I was actually
No
very insecure
fucking
about
way.
it.
What?
Yeah,
That sounds
it's a
way too
$15
good for
mic.
$15.
Dude, if I move it, you'll be able to hear like my
Okay,
entire
okay.
desk. So
Sure.
I'm like sitting
just
still right
realized.
now.
I can switch my title to say that Willie Mack's here. Nobody will know the difference.
You're
Based.
I have a friend that sounds like Seth Rogen, and I wanted to be like, dude, Steven, I shit you not, I'm talking to Seth Rogen right now. Do you want to come on stream and make my buddy come on and do the laugh
Can you do
and
the
all that
laugh
shit?
though? Because that'll be the
The lap's the key. Yeah, no, you can do it.
Does anybody think Seth Rogen's pottery is actually kind of sick though?
Never
Pottery?
seen Seth Rogen's pottery.
It's
He
not
does, like-
bad.
He
Like,
does
it's
like
pretty
smoke
cool.
tray pottery.
Yeah, the
expensive
tweet
as
is
shit.
real.
It's way too
Jewish
pricey.
The Jewish billionaire class must be stopped. That tweet.
So here's what I'll say about that. And I've not read the Holocaust industry, but like people have shit on it and been like, blah, 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 self-hating Jew, whatever, which is a stupid, dumb argument that's used against any Jew that's critical of Israel. But the point of the Holocaust industry isn't shitting on Jewish people, which again, do I have to remind people that fucking Finkelstein is a Jew and they survive, you know, his family's survivor of the Holocaust. But the point is that like how that has been used to excuse like issues with Israel, like where the common cliche is, oh, you're criticizing Israel, are you anti-Semitic? So I haven't read the book. I don't defend the book because I don't know its contents, but I do know the subject matter, and it's not what people twist it into. So when he says these things and people are like, oh, well, here Finkelstein is with the anti-Semitic tropes, it's like, if you know where he's coming from with them, that's probably not that. And I say probably because, again, I haven't read it, but it's probably not the fucking crazy shit that people are turning it into. I will bet $10
actually.
that shit
Well,
is not.
what does he think can be stopped, and is there worth in saying it?
So I mean, so here's something. So
Stopped
all right,
from what?
here's two crazy comments that I said when I heard them. These are fucking insane. But in understanding more about Israel and like Israel's lobby in the United States, it's not. So there was what's her name? The one who wears the hijab, part of the squad. Help me out.
Rashida Tlaib.
Yeah, so she said Israel has hypnotized the world. And that, you know, you hear that and you think like, oh shit, that's some fucking like Nazi level talking point, right? Can I get some nodders in chat?
Yes, that is
I know-
actually
So I'm not-
Nazi
okay,
shit right
When
there.
you talk
I'm
about
not
the
keen
Israel
on,
lobby and
like-
shit, I've learned all of these terms from Nick Fuentes, unironically.
I'm not keen on
No,
Israel
sure.
using the
Yeah, that's one of
Holocaust
the-
as a shield, right? But
Well-
then you can't use the same language
Well, hold
that
on,
they're
hold on,
complaining
hold on.
about.
Hold on.
That's like a bad idea.
When she says, well, no, because like at the end of the day, like it's like, okay, we have to be really fucking careful. And it's like, I think, you know, when it comes to this, people should use their brains at some point. If we have to walk around it, we're never going to be able to address it if it's an actual issue worth addressing.
Do you
It
want
will
to be
never be able
effective,
to.
or do you want to be right?
You can say
I
that
don't
all
know.
you want, but at the end of the day, if we're not able to have the conversations without like doing a ton of tap dancing, then we're never going to really be able to have the conversations.
You don't have to tap dance to say using the Holocaust as a shield is cringe. That doesn't mean you need to invoke the anti-Semitic stereotype
Well,
of
no, that's
the
what I'm
rich
saying. So
Jew
when she says,
controlling everyone like
I'm not even
puppets.
talking about that now. I've moved on to Rashida Tlaib. So when she says Israel's hypnotized the world, it's like, actually, yeah, when people repeat the line, Israel has the right to defend itself as it's in a mass slaughter of innocent civilians, and we continue to support every single time they go do that mass slaughter and they go mow the lawn in Gaza, and everyone repeats the line, Israel has the right to defend itself. You kind of understand where she's coming from with that and realize, okay, this isn't just some anti-Semitic bullshit. She's actually making like, yeah, Israel has convinced the world that it can do no wrong and every action they take is just.
Lycan, do you
Do
actually
you think
believe it's possible to have the conversation, though? Do you truly believe people are ready to have this conversation?
No, absolutely not. Because
Yeah,
look
so
at
that kind
the
of
shit
like
that's happened.
Yeah, so
I
it's
don't
like
know
impossible.
why
We
this
both
argument-
everybody has to walk on eggshells, or everybody just has to bite the bullet and accept that everything is inflammatory at this point, depending on how much skin you have in the game.
Or you could just fucking avoid using the few anti-Semitic memes in your arguments, but you won't
But you
do
gotta
that
think
because
that a
then you
lot of
get
those-
less engagement on social
Well, here's another one.
media.
Here's another one. What's that chick's name in she ran in Ohio? Black chick, I can't remember her name. But it was the 2022 election, I think, and she came out. Nina Turner, thank you. Nina Turner goes and runs, and she ends up losing. And she says something about, she says evil money worked against her, and she was referring to the Israeli lobby. And that, again, you hear that and you're like, what the fuck, you anti-Semite? But then you look at what, AIPAC does, and you look at all these other pro-Israel lobbies and how hard they will go against anyone that speaks against Israel. And it doesn't matter how valid their claims are, the lobby will go fucking hard against you, especially if you have any sort of prominence. So there's a reason that people toe the line. So yeah, I think that's an issue, and that should be something that is able to be addressed without someone saying you're an anti-Semite. Is it evil money? Like, again, if you want to go to the line you're talking about, Kelly, where it's like, well, don't use these anti-Semitic tropes. It's like, okay, what other phrase should we use? Like, should we not be, incensed that 38 states have laws where people either under contract or as public servants aren't allowed to speak against Israel?
The anti-BDS laws are actually fucking wild and
Well, you just gave an example of using it without the words.
Well, no,
said,
I'd say
how do
that's
we
fucking...
say this without saying these things?
But
and
I mean,
then you just did.
Think about what that means. Like, if I were to say, if Texas had like taken away First Amendment rights for all intents and purposes, right? I would say that's fucking evil in the context of American morality. That is insane. But no one's going to come against me for it, for saying that Texas legislature is evil for having taken that away. But if I say that the fucking, if I say the same hyperbolic statement about the Jewish lobby that has made it so that people can't, speak on BDS law or BDS, like you have to couch your words. And I think that it's kind of wild.
Couching words means just avoiding a few really obvious anti-Semitic tropes. I don't really feel like that's a big deal. And I think the reason why people like Finkelstein will do it is because then they can hide behind the label of being a Jew, much in the same way that all the people in Israel hide behind the Holocaust. So you're just doing what they do. It's a bit petty, isn't it?
I'd say that like
agree,
you have
though.
to tap. I think the fact that you have to like to be so couchy, I think is annoying. And like I'm in the camp of no, you're not wrong, like at all. Like, but yeah, it's still annoying.
Yeah, but we just live in like the age of the internet where if you're not inflammatory, nobody's going to care about what you're saying. And if you're not inflammatory enough against like Jewish people, like you won't get all the radical Muslim spammers on Twitter to like spam like your tweets and shoot it up and interactions and stuff. So you kind of just have to play the same game that like TikTok people play is literally what like Israeli people and Palestinian supporters are playing right now. That's why everything is so brain dead and it's all just like become just a 13-year-old versus a 13-year-old in a YouTube comment section, basically.
Finkelstein in his edgy era. When's he gonna drop an N-bomb?
We're almost there, actually.
Oh, you mean like Zizek did? Has
didn't
anyone
see
seen that
happen.
clip?
Hey, fucking Lamau.
It was
that
pretty
happen.
funny. Wait, hold on. Let me see if I can link it.
All he
I don't
needs
know
is
who
a
that
collection
is.
of schizophrenics to
The
heal that
philosopher.
occasionally.
Not
God
too
damn,
Is
where
that the
did you
guy
go?
who sounds like he's like spitting all the time?
Yes, he does.
Kelly
Yeah,
does
he's
not
like
understand
sniffles and stuff,
anti-Semitism. What do you mean?
Does he have like Tourette's or? Because the only clips I've seen of him, he's like always like
Yeah, I don't know
wiping
if he
his
has
nose.
Tourette's or what it seems like a compulsion though, some kind of compulsion. But just in terms of like, yeah, with the like Twitter rhetorics obviously ramp stuff up, but I think Finkelstein was pretty much on this page before anyway. Like you wrote the Holocaust industry. When did he write it? Because it's not like that new a book, right?
Sometime in the last 10, 15 years.
The Holocaust industry 2000, so before Twitter existed. Yeah, before Twitter existed. So Finkelstein's been on this
agree,
train
though.
for a long time.
I do agree with the fact that a lot of people do use the Holocaust as a shield to just be completely like either like xenophobic or just any other phobic of anything they want because, oh, my grandparents got nuked in the Holocaust, which is obviously very terrible, but it doesn't excuse a lot of the shitty stuff people do. Like, this is very small and on a very small scale, but I think like SNL did this like really cringe joke about Israel Palestine on that one like news skit thing they do, and if you go to like a bunch of like Instagram replies where they like advertise the next SNL episode, there's just like a bunch of people in the comments like saying that they were being anti-Semitic and saying that I don't know how you can, you know, advertise anti-Semitism, and it's just like a bunch of bots and stuff.
It's
So-
actually kind of weird because it seems like people are they're getting caught on the crossfire from both sides. Because like a lot of people
but it's
didn't
just
like that they made a
internet
joke about
shit slinging
Hamas
now.
and
It doesn't
SNL.
matter anymore. Everything is just
Yeah.
like internet shit slinging, which is fine. I mean, it's just you can't have a real talk about anything anymore. You know, this is the only real way of communicating now. Talking on Discord on stream. So
Real politic isn't possible when it comes to anything related to Israel.
this is real politics.
Like you can't be blunt and straightforward because it comes at the cost of an easy dunk against you, which is anti-Semitism.
To an extent.
You
I'd
can
like-
be blunt and straightforward and avoid a few handful of tropes.
Well,
I'm
it
sorry.
depends.
That's
It
just
depends how
being
much
a
skin in the
lazy
in the game you
bitch who
have.
doesn't put
It
any
depends.
thought in anything they do,
Well,
and
wait,
or who
hold on.
wants to trigger
Be
people
very
on social
specific.
media for
Be very.
Yeah, you do
first
have
of
to be a
all,
bit
I
more
actually don't
specific.
believe. I first of all do not believe that Finkelstein runs his own Twitter. Like with all the shit.
I mean, that
between,
might be true.
Okay,
With
well,
the-
if he doesn't run his own Twitter, that's kind of fucked.
Still
you know?
his
Like,
responsibility, though.
Because he's like, I don't even have a computer. I don't have a smartphone. Like when he was talking to Steven, like I have a team that runs this shit. So I think they really just like call him up and say, hey, someone reached out to you to do this. Do you want to do it? But like, so yeah, I would like you to be a little more specific. Like which tropes? Because are we not allowed to paint Israel at? Can we not say Israel is bad? Can we not say
I mean, the
that
trope
like
there
Israel
is
has?
that Jewish people have all the money and they're controlling via puppet strings, right? That's
Well,
the
what
trope.
if we want to talk
It's
about
generally
the-
a not good thing to invoke.
What
Is it-
if we want to talk about the disparate power they have in our lobby, like in congressional lobbies?
Do you think that that can be explained? Basically, just how you said it.
just avoid the word Jewish and just say Israeli and right wing because.
Well, the thing is,
that's-
even if
And you
you
can
say
talk
Israeli,
about it as like a
even if you say
generalized
Israeli, people will
concept.
still accuse
When
you
you're
of being
saying the Jewish
anti-Semitic.
billionaire class need to be stopped, you're like, and all of this language is, you're now
Dude,
invoking
Jewish
pretty
billionaire
negative,
class is pretty crazy. That's like Nick Fuentes.
Okay. I want to ask.
The
Lycan,
rabid
though.
Jewish
God.
supremacists must be stopped. Like these are
Kind of
Let
the
Lycan
negative
talk.
in.
Let Lycan
like-
talk. Let
I
Lycan
want to
talk.
ask Lycan a question really
Alright,
quickly.
I'm
Okay,
just saying
I just
that's
want to
why
ask
I
him.
see negatively.
Yeah, I
Ask
just want
me,
to ask
J.Stl.
Lycan.
Set up your clip. Go
with
ahead.
Your,
Get
no,
me.
it's not a clip.
I
No,
know I'm
it's-
teasing.
I'm literally asking you about.
I know
what
I'm
you
teasing.
think about UPenn and the Harvard president and all that. Like, what did you think about those clips and people's
So-
reaction?
I think that my gut is that these people aren't fucking stupid, except for the fact that they fell into a trap. Like, so I don't think these people are anti-Semites. I don't think these people are like, no, it's okay if this can happen. Anyone who's walking away from that, or walking away from hearing those hearings, and that's the conclusion they come to, is just looking for someone to hate and call an anti-Semite. I think that what they're trying to do is they're probably aware of what they're being set up for, and they're not trying to give in, and in doing so, they still somehow fumbled it.
Okay, you can invoke anti-Semitic languages, ideas, and concepts and not necessarily be an anti-Semite, right? Not everyone that's ever said the N-word once we label
No,
as
but what
racist
they're saying,
forever, right? But
right?
we
But
can
with the
say
people
that
coming
certain
at them,
language
And I
comes
actually think
across
Destin's
as
the most racist
anti-Semitic.
person I've ever seen, just because that one time he said the N-word a few days ago.
true.
Yeah, he's a racist.
What people
now
are
forever,
coming
I
at,
guess.
what people are coming at them for and trying to do is trying to corner them and say, is any of this do you? It's what's the question? It's the hey, when did you stop beating your wife? That's the kind of question they were asking, and so it's not being asked in good faith. It's being asked with an agenda, and to put them in a corner and to put them into a hard position. It's not to actually say like, wait, hold on, you guys aren't anti-Semites, right? And then they say, no, we're not. Okay, cool, everyone's fine. No, it's when did you stop beating your wife? And there's no way to answer that doesn't make you sound bad.
I mean, I'm simply criticizing tweets that are in front of me when it comes to more abstract things or
To be
Right,
concepts
but-
or stuff I'm not
To
aware
be
of.
fair, we
The
should have more
galactic ignorant
sympathy
of
towards
mine.
people who sometimes hit their wives and stop.
Okay.
Interesting take. Anyway.
Anyway,
So
I
it's
think
just-
that's an interesting take.
Really big
No.
fan is
Mm.
pro-domestic abuse, guys. Get in there.
yeah. Also,
Do you get what I'm saying, J.Stlk?
serious conversation. I mean, that was kind of my read too. Although, like for me personally, it's very easy to say like, obviously the verbatim words "genocide the Jews" is not allowed on our campus, and that would qualify as harassment or violate some policy.
And
Right?
I
So-
think my issue is that I never saw whatever the hell they're talking about. Like,
Well, no, they say what they're talking about. That globalized intifada is a call to genocide, and from the river to the sea is a call to genocide. Was her point? She had to extrapolate with another person who was getting asked, but a couple of them, like the first lady, the UPenn lady, she didn't get them to extrapolate. She just said like, she was like, oh yeah, no, that wouldn't be a violation. It's only when speech becomes conduct. So she was like, yeah, maybe trying to like big brain it and say like, oh, like from the river to the sea. I think she was translating in her head to from the river to the sea, but she needed to make it clear that like, oh yeah, genocide the Jews or calling for the genocide of Jews explicitly in those precise terms, precise words is not allowed. But that there are other phrases that some people argue means that, but we wouldn't be that those phrases wouldn't be against their policy.
and that's what I figured they were getting at. Is like, because again, I had not watched anything. I just read headlines about the gotcha question and the answers and all that stuff, right?
Archive headspace mean? Is Destiny all right? Jesus.
So yeah, like what would you have done, like in that situation? Like,
Sorry, to
I'm
which
asking
part?
you, like, okay, is it against your policy to call for the genocide of Jews? Like, what would your answer have been?
If I was asked that in a vacuum where nothing else had happened, I would say, yeah.
No,
like,
but let's say you knew that I was talking about some protest where they were saying from the river to the sea.
I think my answer would be, well, what congressman are you saying that was this a congressional or Senate hearing? I want to be respectful.
It was, I think it was the House, but
House. Okay, I'd say I'm sorry. To my knowledge, none of this has been said on the campus, and to any degree that is worth note. So, can you quote me exactly what you're referring to, Congressman?
yeah.
And then if you said river to the sea, I'd say there is debate about whether or not what that topic refers to. But my understanding is that it is not inherently meaning that all Jews should be genocided. So no, I do believe that speech is allowed on our campus, Congressman.
yeah. There's also a congresswoman, but that's okay.
Listen, I can't be completely respectful, okay?
Sexist Lycan.
Okay, so that shit all happened. I'm kind of interested. I don't want to bait anything, but like, just it's really funny because this is a thing we talk about all the time. I think it was a big thing when we talked about gun violence and like gun statistics, because a lot of that happens to come from predominantly low-income black neighborhoods where there's a lot of gang violence. Like that's where a lot of those stats are built up for gun violence. And at what point are you like being racist to point that out, or just observing the pattern that exists, right?
I mean, Isn't it kind of like a meme how like a lot of like racist people on the internet will always bring up like 1850 a lot, and like they're
Yep.
like they never acknowledge why 1850. It's just 1850.
Also
What's
1350, but
1850? Sorry.
Oh, 1350.
Wait, did it? Yeah, did it go up?
no,
Did
it's
it-
1352 technically. I think the last time I
Yeah.
saw, but
But like,
What is this story?
it's
Yeah,
13%
this
of the
was-
population, which is the black population, is responsible for 52% of murders.
Oh,
or,
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Is this still
Yeah.
in context? Through like, are we still talking about the Jewish stuff or no?
Yeah, so it's like Lycan's complaining about the Zionist lobby, which
Yes.
does have an effect on things, probably like an outweighted effect given the size of the Jewish population in the U.S. But is it anti-Semitic to call that out?
Well, to be fair, like my bigger issue isn't like just the way
way
I'm not
to
going to
do it.
complain about lobbies that are advocating on behalf of Native Americans or something like that. I don't care about the size of the population. It's more for me about the lobby for Israel within the United States. That's what I have the bigger issue with.
Yeah.
I think everybody's free to complain about it and talk about it, but all lobbying is free game.
I think there's
I-
definitely something to be said about how people who bring up certain talking points, there's usually an ulterior motive behind it. Like, for example, I'm sure, like in your intentions are probably good, but like, you shouldn't be like that surprised if you find people comparing you to like Nick Fuentes, because there's a good chance that Nick Fuentes is spouting the exact same talking points.
Damn.
Well, so that's
So-
that's one of the issues, right? One of the problems is that
Damn.
no, like I get what he's saying. Like I understand why a lot of people say that. One of the
Okay,
issues
let's
though
see.
is that the talking points, like you have to think. Like so if you go watch what I said to
I
Steven.
don't think you
Hold
do
on,
need to
Kelly.
think
Hold on,
to not
Kelly.
want
Hold on,
to
Kelly.
appeal
Hold on,
to the
Kelly. Hold on,
absolute-
Kelly.
Hang
Hold on,
well,
Kelly.
It's
I'm
a
not.
very
No,
quick thing I'm going to
I-
say. You don't need to, like, all I was going to say is it doesn't take much to couch your language slightly so you don't appeal to absolute worst
No,
cretins on this
yeah.
planet
So
like
what you just said
Fuentes.
is not going to address what I'm about to say. So if you go listen to my conversations with Steven, but then you go listen to this video Sneeko made where he's talking to some skinny kid that kind of looks like him on Twitter, like right not long after the 10-7 stuff, I want to say within a week. He goes on and he starts making these, he starts talking about like the history of Israel, right? But the difference between what he says and I says is you can pick out these little anti-Semitic, anti-Jewish bits, this little flair on it, right? So it's not that anything I'm saying is bad. Nothing I said in those contexts when it comes to the history of Israel and the history of what they've done to Gaza, none of that needs to be couched. I never had to couch anything. The only thing I have to do is assert again and again that I'm not pro-Hamas, which is just a stupid thing because people can't handle the idea that Gaza can be defended. But you listen to it and you can hear the differences between the way Sneeko talks about it and the way I talk about it. And it's something where people have to turn their brain on. If you're looking for anti-Semitism, you will find it in any criticism of Israel. And a lot of it comes from ignorance about the history of the region.
I think that appealing to these people because they'll see stuff like this and they'll like it is probably a negative for the person. So I wasn't
Yeah, but you
thinking of
can't
you.
do
I was
anything about
referring to
that,
like
though.
Finkelstein, right? If you're writing stuff that appeals to neo-Nazis, probably you should learn to write better.
But we're not
I
even
don't-
talking about that.
This
'cause he
isn't
said
like a deep thing. But we're
Well,
talking
no,
about
'cause-
couching of language and such,
No,
right?
no,
I
not
was
for
just
this,
saying
though.
that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, but not for this. Like when he's saying like, well, if you're saying these things that are something that like are in line with something Nick Fuentes would say, well, it's like you got to listen because Nick Fuentes is going to say the same shit I am. We're not even talking about saying something about like the Jewish billionaire class or any stuff like that. We're literally just talking about speaking about matters of fact when it comes to Israel. And there's no way to couch it. Like I could say Israel
What
is
do you
a
mean
Zionist.
there's no way to couch it? I disagree.
So
It's
here-
very easy to not
so
sound
here,
like Fuentes.
I'll explain it
It's
to you.
very-
No, I'll explain it to you, okay? Israel's a Zionist is a Zionist nation. It's an ethno-national state. It is a Jewish ethno-national state. It is not a Jewish religious state. It is a Jewish ethno-national state. Israel was created with the goal of taking over all of the land of Mandate Palestine. Israelis were settling there with the intent to buy land and supplant all the people that already existed there. The reason that Israel operates the way it does is because it wants to take over all the land. The only thing stopping it is international pressure to not genocide all the people of Gaza. Israel has, throughout its history, believed in from the river to the sea as far as the Israelis go. But then when someone says it on the opposite side for the Palestinians, it is seen as something that's genocidal towards Israelis. I can make all those comments like that. None of that needs to be couched whatsoever. That's all matter of fact. But Nick Fuentes is going to come in and say the same thing. But one, you're hearing it from a fucking Nazi. So you're already going to have a biased slant of how you're interpreting that information, right? And then two, he's going to throw in this little bit of flair that's going to make it even more insidious than the idea already is. That's the issue.
I mean,
so there's
not
nothing
even,
to couch
not
there.
even necessarily. Like he would probably say exactly what you said. Like, and the issue is you can't just label somebody who states a fact as an anti-Semite or anything, right? Even if that fact in a vacuum makes them seem like a racist, you have to ask another question. You literally just have to keep asking questions of the person, right? So you can't just
I
hear
think
somebody
it's
say,
not hard to differentiate how you speak from a
No, it
neo-Nazi,
is.
and I
It
feel like I'm
is,
getting
Kelly.
fucking gaslit.
No, Kelly,
when
right
I
now.
came in-
Fuck
when I came in,
me. Since
Jstlk can
when?
tell-
Learn to
I'll
write
tell you.
better.
No,
I don't know what
Jstlk.
to say.
Did I not get called
fucking
a fucking
skill issue?
Jstlk, did I
Yes.
not like get those fucking criticisms immediately? Like these are Nazi talking points when all I was saying is like these are the intents, these are the words of the leaders, this is the
Yes,
history,
and
these
I
are the
told
policies
you-
laid out.
I told you that and I told you myself that this is stuff I literally heard for the first time from Nick Fuentes, right?
Mhm.
But
Yep.
the issue is Nick Fuentes will very often, especially if he's on like some podcast with with different viewer base, he'll say all the things Lycan does. He just won't continue from there, right? And then there's basically no way to tell them apart. It's a very important part of his strategy to get new people into his audience.
Oh my god, you can definitely tell neo-Nazis apart. Just because you might share some thought processes on it, and I'm gonna be very, like, they use information, right, to further how they think in, and whilst adding in dog whistles and other, like, anti-Semitic, it's not talking points so much, it's tropes, really, right? So that's why we were criticizing the normal Finkelstein tweets, because they're invoking tropes. It's not so much that they're talking points.
Hold on, let me
And
see if I
whilst you can say, maybe you couch your language perfectly, and you do get criticized beyond belief, and you've never invoked any type of anti-Semitic tropes, but the thing is, then you'll stand for a man that does.
Well, like I said, I don't know what the fuck goes on with his Twitter, but the books I've read never speak like this. Like, no, there's no language in, there's no language in. Oh God, if I already forgot the names of the books, Gaza, An Inquest into Martyrdom, and
But you are responsible for
The
your
other
Twitter
one.
under your name.
you are. That totally agree with you there. But I'm just saying that, like, in the books I've read, so all the Finkelstein stuff that I cite, he never uses any language like this.
Well, you know what? It's
He
just...
just went mask off now. Now that he's older, he's gotten lazier.
I mean,
Well, it's just irrelevant whether it's him or not, because it's under his name that he has the control of, right?
Well,
So...
Yeah, hold on. I just want to respond to this KS name guy in chat. He says, also, Finkelstein is wrong about Jewish billionaires. If I was one, I'd pull my money from any kid where the Hillel groups were being shouted down. I don't know. Am I not seeing that text right? I don't know what you mean by
I
Hillel.
refuse to believe that
Something
it's
about-
difficult to not sound like Fuentes.
So, I just
feel like
wanna
I'm
ask
losing my
people-
mind at this point.
Okay.
I
just wanna
probably
ask people-
share some
Kelly, I'm
values
fucking
with
talking. I've been
Fuentes.
talking.
I don't
Jesus
sound like him.
Christ. Okay, sorry, but like, I'm trying to ask a question. So, specifically with the Harvard president and the UPenn president, okay, the people who had to step down, it was a Jewish billionaire who was leading the charge to try to get them fired, right? So is that like immediately anti-Semitic to point out? It might be.
You can always
but I'm
point out
just
the
curious.
individual.
Well, it's that there's a
if you
big
point-
individual who was behind it. Like, even in this article I had up from this guy, he literally mentions the guy by name, Bill Ackman.
Cool. But you can always point out individuals.
Well, that's okay. So it's not like, is it weird to say that he's Jewish because it ties him to Israel?
If we feel like things are relevant and it's not just, upholding tropes when it's not necessary.
Okay, so
Besides, like commenting on an individual, the specific things that they do why we think they're negative. These things are fine.
Well, okay, so I'm gonna make the argument that every part of this tweet is important and contextually relevant. The Jewish, as in would probably support
Are
Israel.
you suggesting you couldn't
Billionaire?
rewrite it without
I'm
it?
suggesting that this is written as it should be written. Billionaire,
That's
as
not
in
what I
these people
asked.
are donating to schools. Class has declared we will destroy any student,
Not
faculty, or
what I
administrator who
asked.
denies Israel's right to commit genocide. They've sponsored like vans that drive around with monitors on them that are like doxing kids who have signed anti-Israel like protest documents, right? They're trying to pull their money out of schools, and that's their right to do. But like, I think every part of this is actually critical to making his point.
Rabid Jewish supremacist must be stopped.
Wait, where does it say that?
Oh, he actually says it twice, and I'm looking at his Twitter feed, mate.
Sure,
It's
I'm
just a
talking
bit
about the
unhinged.
Jewish billionaire class has declared blah blah blah. The tweet I have up on screen.
Yep, it's in the tweet underneath it, connected to it. It
I
says,
think you gotta
"Rabid
look at all
Jewish
three, to be
supremacists
fair.
will henceforth be deciding what can and can't be said on college campus."
Yeah, I'll go and find it. Otherwise, the Jewish
Is
billionaire
it
class
ever
must be
wrong to
stopped.
is it ever wrong to like bring up how a group might be acting as a collective though? Because like, for example, when we talk about like instances of influence in other cases, like obviously with I don't know how you guys feel about like the BLM movement, but in that movement they obviously talk a lot about systemic racism, racism from white people in particular. Like, is there anything necessarily wrong with pointing out that like an entire group of people, like sure, not everyone within that group is behaving a certain way, but
That's
is there
the
anything
point.
ever
That's why it's
wrong with
bad.
I mean, I guess, but I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with like acknowledging that like an entire collective of people might be behaving in a certain way that is harmful.
Yeah, it's painting everyone with the same brush. We generally don't like that.
But obviously it involves a lot of clarification, and also I feel like when people do that, you can infer that they're not saying everyone in this group is doing that, right?
Oh,
Like,
with BLM,
Or you could just give
BLM
specific
went too
examples
far,
in the
to be
fucking
fair.
first place.
Like with the whole white people are evil thing. Like
yeah.
it literally boiled down at the end of like the whole BLM lifespan to literally like all white people are holding black people in America down, and this
Well,
is all white people's
I'm sure
fault.
there's some people who are like that, but like, I mean, my other comparison, but I felt like this was less apt, less accurate because this isn't a race. It's kind of like when people talk about like police officers and the police system, you
So
know?
wait, is this just about one it's just about one Jewish billionaire?
So I'm not
It's
sure
not
because I
about
can't
many.
remember who did the doxing ban. If that was Bill Ackman as
Because
well.
the chat's saying it's about one, and it's also there's a bunch of billionaires that aren't Jewish as well.
Well, that's what he's saying. I asked him for a link to source that there's a bunch of billionaires who aren't Jewish who are also doing
I
it.
don't even like taking this side of the argument. Fucking hell, why am I doing it? I just think
I wish
fucking
Lycan's
cringe
camera was on.
language.
I don't here. Give me a second. Let me
Lycan is
try
pretty
one more
fuck
time.
handsome.
off for a second.
It's just like tweet better. I don't know.
Okay.
Oh, don't get me
I mean,
wrong. Again, I
Unless
agree with
you're
that.
being an
There
influencer,
definitely is
you
a point
enjoy
to be
this.
made about like how a lot of people like you definitely need to clarify when you bring up these talking points to sort of set yourself apart. Like you basically you need to bring up like your conclusion, so to speak. Because like someone like Nick Fuentes will bring up this point about like Jewish people in power or whatever, but his conclusion is wildly different from like whatever Lycan might want to say. You know, it's again, it's kind of like the point I brought up earlier when people bring up 1350. You know, there's people who are like, oh, like some people's conclusion to that is, oh, well, we need to examine why black people commit a disproportionate amount of crimes, and we need to like fix like these systemic issues. But then you'll have other people who'll be like, oh no, that's just inherent to black people, and we need to like deport them all or something. So like when you bring up these points, it definitely helps to
The answer's
quickly
poverty.
it definitely helps to
I'm gonna go
quickly
get a snack.
bring up the point you're trying to make on top of that. I mean, some people might argue that it sucks that you have to constantly clarify your point over and over, but again, there's people who have similar talking points that have bad intentions, and it's definitely important to make it as abundantly clear that those aren't your intentions and you don't have the same intentions.
the difficult thing is that everyone's looking for you to be. They're looking for you to be. What do you call it? Sorry, I'm brain farting. They're looking for you
Like
to
anti-Semitic.
be. Yeah, they're looking for that. So in those cases, you're going to run into that issue where you're not just. It's not just like you have to be abundantly clear just because you want to make sure that your message is heard properly. You have to be abundantly clear because you're working against people that don't want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. No, I definitely get what you mean, because I don't know. Sorry if I keep going back to this example, but obviously, you have a lot of leftists that don't like when 1350 is brought up. Like even if you do make clarifications, because people will be like, but I don't know.
And
It is something that has to be acknowledged because it is a thing that is happening. You can't just pretend it isn't.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I just like when someone brings up 1350, my response isn't to say, no, it isn't, you're wrong, shut the fuck up. Or you don't understand what's going on. It's, no, let's talk about it. And if someone's willing to actually engage with you, which most people who say 1350 are not, it's like, okay, let's explain it. But like with, defund the police and all that, I something don't support. I have overall no problem with the concept of law enforcement. But when people talk about that, the play isn't just to hand wave it and say, no, you're fucking dumb or wrong, or it isn't to be so obtuse that you don't realize that your messaging actually is having a negative impact on the goals you or your group or whatever movement has. So I do think that Kelly's not here to hear this, so I'll repeat it when she gets back, so she knows I'm not completely hand waving what she's saying, but it is important to understand the way your messaging is impacting things, and to understand that you do have to use appropriate language that doesn't turn people against you. You absolutely have to. But there comes a point where it's like, and this is a kind of a tangential example, but when we're talking about if we give into Gaza and we help them out, then they're just going to see that terrorism wins. And it's like, what's more important right now? Is it helping the people of Gaza and no longer allowing a brutal, unnecessary slaughter? Or do we care about our egos and the worry of future terrorism? It's like, you know what? At the cost of 2.3 million people and their lives, I'd say we go ahead and we try to do the best thing we can for them and not let our egos stop us from doing so. So when it comes to the discussions about this, it's like, okay, well, a lot of what I'm seeing is an inability to have the necessary conversations that we need to have because people are too worried about the language. It's like the people who are worried about the language are kind of concern trolling right now, and they're not actually interested in hearing anything you have to say. All they want to see is anti-Semitism.
It's not that hard.
What if they actually care,
it's
though?
really difficult?
You can finish your point, really big fan. I got a Psycho British Lassie and really big fan out to pull David in because he's gonna lose his shit about Israel, okay?
I know.
I don't want to be on
Kick.com/British Lassie.
Time to change
Kick.com/British Lassie, guys. There.
Awesome. Bye.
Come on, David.
Okay, I'm pulling David in, and then I think if Tourniquet wanted to join too, I could pull him in.
1 second. Always have to fix the audio because Discord mode sucks. Okay. So, Lycan.
David.
I'm not even going to start with the anti-Semitism shit. First thing I have contentious with is your interesting take that we should not give a fuck about the future terrorism that is guaranteed from Gaza.
David, what the fuck are you doing?
Go.
Stay on the fucking topic.
He just brought that shit up, and that
was as a tangential thing, and you were upset before that. So bring the thing up that you were upset about before.
Yeah.